Proof of your tremendous hidden power in crisis situations. I never thought of myself as powerful. On the contrary, actually, I felt inferior and unworthy most of the time. I felt insecure because I was being laughed at for having been very skinny. And I tried to mask my insecurity underneath a layer of muscles afterwards, through dieting and fitness. And along the way, I experienced that most of the conditioned health claims are flat out wrong, but that is another video. But masking and pretending like under a layer of muscles cannot solve an issue, obviously. And therefore, I never thought I had the capacity or the intrinsic power to make a difference in a crisis situation. Now, if you are honest with yourself, do you also recognize feeling inferior or unworthy beneath a possible mask of accomplishments? Now, could it be that feeling inferior is not because we actually are inferior, but because we are raised to believe we are? Now, in this video, I want to show you evidence that you, as a unique individual, have tremendous power to make a significant difference in the best interest of all. But first, let's examine where we might have started to falsely believe we are powerless and unworthy. What if we would live in a world where we are unconsciously conditioned at school, at work, and at home to listen and to obey what has been top-down communicated without questioning? What if we would be punished with bad grades or by our parents if we would not obey the curriculum without questioning at school? Would being punished for not obeying authority eventually make us feel unworthy losers if we would only be good at thinking for ourselves? Would just obeying or copying without questioning become a natural emotional survival mechanism to avoid being labeled as an unworthy loser? But how can we ever feel our intrinsic self-worth by running away from our feelings and living through the eyes of authority instead? What if we learned to obey with our best intentions without questioning what has been communicated from top down? And what if the politician had to obey an unelected global organization without questioning? What if the pharma industry had to obey the politician without questioning, or the other way around? What if the scientific research was funded and approved by the pharma industry to sell more products without questioning? What if the school curriculum was composed by the pharma industry to sell more products without questioning? What if doctors had to obey the order of physicians without questioning? And what if the order of physicians had to obey the pharma industry without questioning? What if the media had to obey the politicians without questioning? And what if the free platforms were designed to think and filter information for us and had to obey politicians without questioning? What if the legal system had to obey politicians without questioning? What if the police and the army were designed to obey politicians without questioning? What if entertainment and busyness or business were designed to distract us constantly from ever questioning top-down authority? Now, at first sight, there would be no problem with living in a world where we obeyed without questioning, as long as the top-down intentions served the life quality of all. It would even seem easier to just have to obey and not have to think or take responsibility for ourselves, right? But what if we lived in a world where we all just obeyed without questioning, with all our best intentions, and the top, they were not interested in the greater good for everyone? What if there were a top-down psychological human condition where people started to feel so alienated and superior to others that they actually believed they had to decide and control the lives of others? And what if advanced stages of that psychological top-down alienation led them to believe there were too many people on the planet? And what if that condition made them believe they were the chosen ones who got to decide who lives or dies? And what if they used all their top-down communication to propagate exactly the opposite of what they intended and used our human feelings of solidarity and constant distractions against us to achieve their perceived chosen purpose, where they got to decide who stays? What if the propagated solutions would make us weaker, sicker, more unconscious and more miserable, to make us dependent, fragile victims of authority? In other words, what if the nicely wrapped propagated solutions would make us more inhuman? Under the opposite pretext of the exact opposite propaganda, like for the greater good, to save our health, to save the planet, to save humanity. What if we are deliberately conditioned to believe that we are powerless, injured, minority victims, to make us falsely believe that we cannot think and act for ourselves and are dependent of control by authority? Would you want to obey without questioning? Would you really want to blindly obey that kind of top-down communication coming from unelected global organizations, from politicians, the pharmaceutical industry, a school curriculum, the scientific community, the order of physicians, physicians themselves, pharmacies, search engines, free platforms, free AI, or even familiar newsreaders or journalists? Would you not question the authority of these sources, giving their potential to communicate from a top-down psychological condition? What do you think about Benjamin Franklin's famous quote that says, "It is the first responsibility of every citizen to question authority"? What if we were to question top-down authority? What if those in power were to use all communication channels to ridicule, to demonize, to gaslight, to cancel or label us as dumb or a lower class of a citizen if we do? Would it be possible that this kind of punishment would unconsciously bring us back to our childhood trauma of unworthiness, where we were punished for not obeying or copying authority? Could it be that therefore, as an emotional coping mechanism, we automatically adopt behavior that is opposite to questioning, such as feeling morally superior when just obeying, or feeling righteous when ridiculing, demonizing, excluding, controlling, and condemning our own brothers and sisters who do not obey, and that with the same top-down arguments without questioning? Would it be possible that our wrongly instilled feelings of unworthiness and our unconscious emotional coping mechanisms would stand in the way and prevent us from stopping this top-down, not so good outcome for all of us? Wouldn't it be only logical to be paralyzed by our false feeling of inferiority in comparison with authority? I want to show you by example that you, yes you, as a wonderful, unique and loving individual, you are extremely powerful and capable of breaking the chain of this top-down scenario that is not good for all of us once it occurs. Let us presume that these matches represent top-down obedience without questioning authority. Now, what would happen if the first match gets lit? Indeed, the whole top-down obedience without questioning would follow, even if it is not in the best interest of everyone, without being able to respond to do anything about it, right? See what happens by just stepping out of this top-down obedience without questioning chain. By not cooperating in any way with that top-down communication, the chain, the imprisonment, the wrong, unnatural top-down direction would stop. Do you see how powerful you are? But what if we, like everyone else at first, were not aware of this top-down obedience without questioning direction that would not be so good for all of us? Would we feel shocked, ashamed, dumb, or even angry that we let our heartwarming, beautiful human feelings of solidarity be used against us and against our own brothers and sisters? Very likely. But we do not have to lose our energy on fear, on anger, on guilt, on revenge and shame, or on fighting the old. On the contrary, it will only give it more energy and it will only make it more real. Having those feelings is human and only shows that we can feel and have a beautiful heart of solidarity. Who would think it would ever be used against us? The only thing we will have to do is to use our energy to remove ourselves from this top-down structure by not cooperating with it anymore, and to unite ourselves horizontally instead, and to use our energy to create, to enjoy, to celebrate the horizontal, self-sovereign, loving connection in freedom, as if it has already happened, and our newly directed focus and energy will create the new and will make it real. Now we could help each other experience our sovereign freedom and tremendous loving, connecting human power again. But what if we would feel so hurt and disconnected from our own and others' feelings, and have the compensating earth to control others from top down or from bottom up instead? Then we could ask ourselves, what feeling am I seeking through this external compensating approach? Can the feeling of true fulfillment ever be felt outside of ourselves by running away from our feelings and trying to control others instead? Of course not. We can never feel a feeling outside of ourselves. Wouldn't we rather experience genuine feelings of fulfillment from within by connecting with our authentic selves and others on an equal horizontal level with love and compassion? May I ask you to close your eyes? Now, imagine a relaxed and an abundant world full of connection and joy, full of energy and aliveness, where we don't have to overcompensate in external masks or in madness for not feeling our intrinsic self-worth, leaving abundance to each and every one of us, where health is a natural, thriving byproduct, where everyone treats the other the way they wanted to be treated themselves. Imagine a world where the feeling of fulfillment can only be reached by allowing ourselves to feel, where peace can only be attained through peaceful means, and where recognizing ourselves in others and connecting with them are the only ways to experience true love. In this world, natural human health can only be achieved by returning to our natural human state. Imagine a world where the genius of nature itself, along with freedom, love, joy, and mutual sovereign respect, form the basis of human creation. Can you feel the excitement and the enormous potential of what we could co-create together? Can you see the possibilities of how we could transform unhealthy top-down structures into natural, healthy, and loving new ones? My intention of this video is to show you proof we all have that individual power to experience this maybe most fulfilling human purpose and transformation. And I wish it will serve you this way if necessary. Feel free to light up your match, not to make people obey top-down without questioning, but to inspire others to break the top-down chain if it doesn't serve the best interest of all, and to reclaim our horizontal, loving humanity in freedom. What do you think will happen if everyone would see this video and would put their reactivated, intended, loving power and ability to respond into action? My intention of this video is to prevent our energy from being drained by wearing masks or by the weakening propaganda of doom scenarios, I invite you to turn off your television, step out of these top-down imprisoning chains and ignite your focus and energy to connect with each other and to celebrate our loving, creative, human, united superpower with abundance for all as a natural consequence. You are my brother. You are my sister. Love you all. And do not forget, never take yourself too seriously. How could we know the difference between a nicely decorated propaganda masking the opposite goals and the actual intended natural intelligent direction in the best interest of all? Let me know in the comment box below if you want me to make a new video about this. I will see you in the next video.